people know on our Facebook page to go to YouTube?
Yep, I can do that.
You're good, Anthony.
I can do that.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Today is September 10th, 2020. We are in our second bargaining session. Today's focus is going to be on health insurance. We're trying to finish up by 5:30 promptly because there is a school board meeting tonight. Dr. Green, I had mentioned to you, we are going to pass some counter proposals as well. I understand you don't have your whole team with you, and understand if you cannot respond to them tonight, but I just wanted to give them to you so you can start looking at them. And also I want to say is that, you know, we're really determined to wrap up this bargaining, this contract bargaining by the end of September, so we can get it out for a ratification vote in early October. So that's our goal. I'm sure you're probably sharing the same goal. And with that, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you so much. And yes, we absolutely are planning to wrap this up quickly. And that being said, hopefully our insurance tonight, because as you know, our open enrollment season starts early October. So we're hoping that we have some good information to share with you. And then we'll look forward to your proposals, your counters.
Sure.
So Mr. Langdorf, who is with us, I'm going to ask him to start sharing his screen, and he'll start with our response to your health insurance counter last week.
Okay, can everybody see this?
Yes, it's very small, Mark. If you could increase.
Let's see if I can make that a bit bigger. Is that better?
A little more wouldn't hurt. I'm getting old.
That's no problem. How's that?
That's good.
All right. And the last time we met, there was some issues when it comes to the annual deductible. This has been corrected to reflect what it is currently. We did have an issue. The employee-only amount should be half of what the area, I shouldn't say half. So if you look at the wellness here for out of network, it'd be $1,250. For the family, it would be double that amount. So we did correct it to do all of that. I think we had some errors in the one that I showed you last week, but this has been corrected to show exactly what these plans would cover as far as plan design is concerned. So I have that for you to view. And we also added the tier 1 for the Signacare designated provider, which would apply to the tier 1s here in the gold plan. So that's what it looks like. I don't think I had this logo here listed last time. So I updated that and updated the rest of the schedule.
Mark, before you continue, I know there was a specific deductible that we thought was wrong. Can somebody on my team remind me what that was and let me know?
I think it was under the silver plan for the schedule one. It said $750, $1,250, which I'm thinking was the wellness, but I think what Mark said, the $1,250 was incorrect because it should have been double the $750.
Correct.
Okay.
And the same would have been on the schedule too. So yeah, I think we had 3,000, you know, I'd have to go back and look for that, but we did correct it to where it's just double that rate between the employee only and the family plans. So that's what was corrected in this particular area.
Yeah, I actually see it now. Was the non-wellness was down as 5,500 rather than 3,500.
Right.
Okay.
So this has been corrected, and this is clearly the most up-to-date and correct that we have. I'm not sure now in the last one, I don't think I included the logo for the Signacare designation, so we added that to this as well. Do you see that?
Yeah, that was actually, you had that last.
Oh, I did. Okay. All right. So
hey, Mark, real quick before you move on. So I think what happened was on the silver plan, I see what you did, but I think what was pointed out was the silver plan was a complete copy from last year. And I believe on the current plan, the wellness deductible only says 1250
Under Schedule 2?
on their schedule one. On the current plan, I'm trying to get a copy of it right when we talk.
Oh, hold on one second.
Yeah, on the 2020, and this is actually in the documents that you passed over last time. On the 2020 plan year in network, the wellness is 750 slash 1,250.
Right. And that needed to be corrected.
Okay, so
That,
that was in there.
right, that was an error. So that's why we did this, to correct it to what it should be.
Okay,
Wait, hold on a
So
second.
this is in our
So-
schedule of benefits.
So I'm looking at the schedule of benefits in the current contract.
Mhm.
So completed biometric and health assessment, 750 individual, 1,250 for two or more, not 1,500.
When that was submitted in 19, apparently it was incorrectly submitted.
No, I got you, because we made it, didn't we make a change?
We
I
did.
mean, obviously we made a change. Maybe the change, was that one of those changes that came after the contract?
I think so. And
That would make sense.
it was submitted incorrectly. This corrects everything over the past couple of years that was incorrect.
Yep, that makes
That's-
sense now.
That's what
Yep.
this clearly shows. So that is the difference between the gold plan and the silver plans. I do have paper copies for you. I know you're not over there now, but I have that for you as well. So if there isn't any more discussion, I'll move on to the next item. I thought what I would do here is just kind of remind you that this was our first offer that we made last week. I also received your offer last week. Can you see all of these?
Yes.
Okay, so what I did is I took your offer and I've actually put it on on my spreadsheet, but I included the formulas. So it's calculating the way it should be based on the formula. So you can see, for example, the 1,611,000 is a total of everything here. So that gives you the calculation based on your counter of 20, 65, 40, and 80. So that's the number that I come up with when it comes to with the formula itself. And I added here, the difference between this time and last time was your feeling was that 60% of the employees will stay on the gold plan, 40% will stay on the silver plan. In between last week and this week, I had Aon's actuary take a look at that. Aon's position, who is our actuary, is that regardless of whether you reduce the co-payments as you've done here or stick with what the SIAC initially voted on, that most people will look at these plans and compare the cost per month increase plus the cost of the plan design increase and make a decision on those combined. So they feel, Aon feels, that it will not make a difference when it comes to the gold migration or the silver migration. They still believe that the gold will be at 40%, the 60, and the silver will be at 60%. So I included that with this. Oh, wait a second, that's not the right one. This is the one that based on your counter offers using a 40 to 60. So it's indicating here that this would bring in, based on the 6,498 people on our plan, that's made of 3,908 employee only, 448 employee spouse, 1,372 children and employee and children plans, and a 770 family plans, that change would bring in revenues of 1,074,000. Which is a bit under, and I know that you guys can decide what you want as far as disputing whether it would be 40 or 60, but I'm using what our actuary has stated. I'm not sure where your migration numbers came from it, and it might have come from an actuary if you're using one. I'm just not sure. But according to Aon, they believe it will still be a 40/60, so that's what I put in here. Based on that, we want to offer the following counter, if this is the right one, right here. And we just wanted to make this as simple as possible. What we did is we just split the difference between our first offer and your offer. So, and I'm not sure how to compare these, but I think if you look at the counter offer here for the employee only plan, I believe you said yours was a $20 difference, or you had
Yes.
proposed $20 and our initial offer was 26 and change. And so we just divided that into and came to a middle number between what your last offer was and the first offer to make it easier. And we did that across the board. So you'll see the 87.99 is the midway point between what you had countered with and what was initially presented. The 54.79 was also the midpoint between those two, with 110.20 being the midway point for the employee family plan. That'll bring in about 1.4 million in revenue. So you can see the difference. I think, just want to make sure I have that here. So if you just take that, divide that, and then subtract what you had before, that'll show you where the differences are. But instead of 17.15 in revenue, we will be at the 13.95 in revenue. What's important to note about this is really what that does to us when it comes to the contributions totaling at the end of December 31st, 2021. Using a 60% migration rate here, Aon, our actuaries' numbers show that by December 31st, 2021, we'll have a fund balance negative of what we need. And in other words, our fund balance will be 2.9 million, which is 9.4 million short of what we need at $12,371,000 by December of 2021. So we're going to have to make that up, through changes this next year as well. If we utilized the numbers that you have based on the 60% migration rate, that difference would be about 700,000 more that we would have to make up by next year. And based on the new numbers, based on our counter, our shortfall would be about $320,000 more than what has been projected by our actuary with Aon. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are. We obviously don't know what the funding is going to be like next year. And I understand the counter and the whole thought behind reducing costs for employees, and I would love to do that too. The problem is our costs are based solely on employees on our health plan. There's not a lot of money leaving that other than about a 4% charge for Cigna on their claims handling, and the rest of it is going to be on claims itself and on our stop loss insurance that covers claims that reach a certain level. So there's not much we can do as far as that's concerned. And what we want to avoid is to have that number be so large next year that would make it impossible. Just as a reminder, the reason why we have to do this is the state does require us to carry a 60-day balance at the end of the fiscal year. So our fiscal year, as you know, ends June 30th. What they're saying here is, and I'll just point it out here, at the end of the fiscal year, well, I guess I have calendar year. I didn't include the fiscal year. But if you look at the calendar year, what Aon is projecting, if we had taken the original position or the original offer, we would still be 9.4 million short. Our fund balance will be 2.9 million. And the 60 days is 12.3 million. Does that make sense as far as how you read these charts itself?
Yes.
You have any questions with those?
No.
So that would be our counter offer to that. And just to try and kind of split the difference between what you proposed and what the original offer was, we feel like this is probably the best that we could do, because it's neither the board nor employees are getting a win out of this. We're just trying to reach an agreement so we can start to advertise and tell people about the plans.
So, just to be clear, Mark, so when they recalculated, they still assumed 60% migration. They would not say that an increase or a decrease in premium, increase would lead to less migration.
No, because according the actuary we have is Amanda Brooke Cross. I think you know who she is,
Mhm.
Anthony. Her experience as an actuary doing health plans in about 15 different school districts for a long period of time around the state is that change itself is not the motivator to move migration. It's a combination between the increase in the premium charge that goes to employee through employee or payroll deduction, as well as what it would cost them out of pocket on their plan designs.
Mhm.
And so when someone's going to choose a plan, they will look at both the premium and the plan design and make a decision on that, on which plan they would like to choose for their family.
All right, and I mean, the only thing I would just like to say is, I mean, I understand and respect the work of the actuary, but also it's just a prediction. And Mark, you and I have seen, those predictions vary by millions and millions of dollars. So, I'm not discounting that, but I think we all need to keep that in mind, that this is it's a prediction. It's not a definite, because
Right.
we've seen some wild predictions, not necessarily from Aon, but from other folks that we used to work with that were nowhere near accurate.
And I would agree with that. Our prior actuary wasn't as actual as what we have with Aon. I think Aon's been fairly correct as to what's happened since it's been taken over.
So with that said, well, two things. Kyle, you have the ability to adjust our calculator, correct? If we're gonna look at some of the numbers.
Yeah, I just updated it with we had different enrollment numbers, but I think Mark
Yeah,
probably
it's
has more
just
accurate
like,
enrollment numbers, so I just updated it with that. But yeah, we're fine.
all right. And well, Dr. Green, I had some other counters. Would you like me to give those to you? So if we go to our breakout rooms, you guys could look at those. And then if you have any questions,
That'd be fine.
yeah. All right. So just before we move on to that, does anybody on my team have any questions about Mark's proposal counter? Okay. All right. So
I'll stop sharing, I guess.
yes. And then okay. Are you guys looking at my screen? Dr. Green, do you see my screen? You're on mute.
I do see your screen. Thank you.
Okay.
I see it as well, Anthony.
All right. So my first counter proposal is in reference to Article 6, Section B, calendar number 8. I told you that I agreed with what you were saying. I was just trying to find a more clear way of saying that. Basically, we know we have 2 discretionary days. One of those discretionary days, in order for it to qualify as discretionary, you need to be done with your stuff on campus the last day. And then the discretionary day between first and second grading periods is just a discretionary day that does not involve checkout procedures and the like. So I've reworded that. Hopefully that makes sense to you. It says the post-planning day will be at the teacher's discretion as long as responsibilities, including checkout procedures, have been completed. The day between the first and second grading periods will also be at the teacher's discretion.
Okay, so it does. I just want to, I just want to check because there's something in, I believe it's number 11 in that same article that talks about this started in 1819 because there was a day that became a non-work day.
Yes.
So, I just need to check. I like the way you wrote it, clearly much more simple, but I want to check the relationship between 8 and 11 so that we understand that if something happens with that work day, that non-work day, that 8 is not accurate anymore. Because remember, 8, we're trying to make 8 match 11 is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha. All right.
So we'll look at it in line with, I like the way you said it, but somehow we have to connect it to paragraph 11.
Okay. All right. Okay, the next, we do have a counter about early release Fridays. Just want to be clear that what we're countering with is an MOA for just this school year. So we're hearing what you're saying. We're recognizing that we've done our a lot of our professional development, if not all our professional development up front already this year. So we're trying to honor that situation. And we also know like the reading endorsement is putting a lot of pressure on folks to have some professional development time. So just to be clear, especially for those listening, this would just be for this school year. This is what we're proposing, not a permanent change to our contract, but just in light of the rearranging of the days at the beginning of the school year, and understanding there's a lot of need for professional development right now, especially with that reading endorsement. So just to kind of sum it up, you had asked us for 10 days. We're going to counter in this MOA with 8 days, which basically would take us, 1 month until May. We're still saying no more than 4 per semester. And we're asking that there's still a professional development calendar established by the principal prior to October. I think it currently says during pre-planning. So teachers would know clearly when those professional development days are. And the last change we added in there is all professional development on early release Fridays must count towards in-service credit. If it does not, it will be considered a meeting and teachers cannot be required to attend. So what we're asking for is real professional development, not meetings, not things that could have been handled through an email, but actual real professional development where teachers are getting credit so they could renew their certification, learning something meaningful. For instance, we just had a situation today where there was a principal trying to do a meeting on a professional development day. That a meeting is not professional development. So we're trying to kind of meet you in the middle, make some changes for this difficult year, but we don't want these changes to be a permanent part of our contract. We fought really hard to get those early release days, and we're not willing to give them away. But this year we realized there's been a lot of changes to schedule. So we're trying to kind of meet you halfway with that.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll look at that. So a question related to that, since you would want the calendar by October, this would be something, since it would be an MOA that we could sign off on and move forward as opposed to waiting till the end of negotiations.
I don't want to say that, but we could talk, and I could talk to our legal counsel and so on, make sure that we're not doing anything we shouldn't be doing.
Okay, we will
Okay.
Consider that counter. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I do want to just, you had a proposal about assignments and transfers where you said no earlier than February, but no later than April. We want to TA that. We don't see how that would most likely be beneficial for teachers rather than harmful. So we'll go ahead and TA that one.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Next, we had the ROTC language. Not quite prepared to TA that today. I'm just waiting to see if I get any more feedback from our ROTC instructors. So we'll have an answer for you on that one next time.
Okay, thank you.
Or a counter. And finally, one of the proposals along with health insurance, you had under the SIAC committee, where we're trying to make sure that we're negotiating changes to the health insurance plan in a timely manner, where we're not coming right up to open enrollment, the situation that we're in today. So what I'm proposing, and I've put it in the duration of agreement section, that the parties shall begin negotiations on health insurance in March of each year pursuant to Florida law. Changes to health insurance plan that constitute a change in a mandatory subject of bargaining must be collectively bargained unless otherwise waived. If bargaining does not conclude by May 15th of each year, there will be no changes to the health insurance for the following year. And I mean bargaining around health insurance. So we're trying to respond to the need to negotiate health insurance earlier. I know that was what your intention was somewhat with your proposal, is we can't have our back against the wall every year against health insurance. So what I'm suggesting is, in March, we take the work of the SIAC committee at that time and start talking about potential changes and try to wrap them up by May 15th if it's necessary to make changes to the health plan.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll let you know on that one. Bless you.
All right, and that was it.
So Anthony, will you forward me those, please?
Sure. And okay, so we're gonna go to our breakout room now.
Okay,
You guys don't need a breakout room, do you?
correct. We don't need a breakout
Okay.
room.
All right, so I will forward the proposals and we'll be back in